this is Demo Time, Tech Alley. One of the nice things about Mr. Leavitt, who we were just besmirching the good character of, I was, no one else here was, it was just me, is that he wants to have this be a space where people can share things they're working on. Now, I work on sometimes some pretty polished stuff I get really excited about, but this is meant to be accessible. If you did a little thing, did a big thing, want to present, please feel free to reach out to myself, Josh Stacy, there's only one Josh Stacy here, or Laura, the lovely Laura, and then you can present. So, rough idea on the format here, about 5 to 7 minutes about your thing, for you and you, and then 5 to 7 minutes of questions and answers and heckling. I don't know. We're going to try to not heckle. We like to support people, but we'll see what you guys give us. We might have to. It's nothing personal. It's just personal heckling, that's all. And then after that, at the end, we just sort of do some open networking. Maybe you saw somebody who presented something you liked. Maybe you see someone you wanted to chat with. Maybe you just wanted a moment before you get ready for your next Tech Alley session. One piece of housekeeping. That microphone, it's a great microphone for asking questions. Now you might think, now I give this speech all the time. I don't know why I do. Sometimes it's sick, sometimes it doesn't. The lovely Ryan in the back there, he's recording this. This will go on YouTube. Now, in order for YouTube to hear you, your question, you have to have the mic. So if you raise your hand, we'll bring a mic to you, and then you can ask the question, and everybody can hear it instead of just silence and then a vague answer. So without any further ado, Aaron, get your ass down here. Everybody, round of applause for Aaron.
So here's SlotGenie. SlotGenie.bet if you want to put it in your phone and play at home. It opens up to this map. You can go wherever you were that you lost money at on the strip. I'm sorry.
Well, so you need both.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so here's a map. You can go anywhere on the map and find wherever you lost money last night. You can log a win, log a loss, and then know where that was the following day or at the end of your trip. And then you can add like notes to log your spending, what have you. This part is really cool. This was hard to build. So this is a chatbot interface for it, but this is just the straight directory. So I want to go to dinner tonight. I want to go to a Mexican place. I want to go to Casa Playa. See if I picked a good one. Yeah, and I can reserve here. And then I can hit back on my phone.
Come on, Win. Why are you changing everything?
Dang it.
Be cool, bro. Be cool. You can have a stable directory.
All right. Yeah, we're back. Okay, and then Srini, who is your Genie concierge, the whole SlotGenie thing, his name is Srini.
Mike, gotta use the mic, my friend. Yeah, there we go.
Let me introduce you to Srini. He's the SlotGenie avatar concierge person, chat friend. And we can ask him questions like where to eat. This is mostly built in. It's way easier to use on your phone. And then, celebrity chef, and then you have your restaurants right there. Same deal. You can book. He is very intelligent. I have loaded this thing up with information without the use of an API key. So anybody can use it without it costing any money. And then I have this. Oh, that's me and my dog. So this is a wall, and I want it to be kind of like a Vegas style wall where people post pictures, and then and so thanks. And then you can use this these Genie points that I have like built in, and they're it's like generative points, so doing like generative art within the app. So it's kind of cool. And then I have this whole casino that I built that's gotten to be such a big idea for me that I turned it into its own thing. Call it Smart Hardware at Work Casino, Shia Casino. My favorite game on it is video poker. Feel free to play any of them. They all work. And my favorite thing to do on it, if it'll work this way, is flick my phone, and then it deals the cards.
Nice.
I love this. I just do this all day. I do it at stoplights. So yeah, and then for all the games, you have your chatbot here. It'll explain the game to you. Yada yada yada. Yeah, So, and then we can go back to SlotGenie. Rub the lamp. There's a ton going on here, and I'm kind of nervous. So if anybody's got any questions or anything.
Yeah, I got, so just some questions. Where'd you sort of get this idea? You're like, the world needs this. What was that like?
What led up to SlotGenie? So I got laid off from my job, and I started playing with like a lot of different ideas before I finally landed on this one. So here's how I got to it. Okay, so one night while I was sitting at the Four Winds Casino in South Bend, a very strange morning afterwards, a rainbow appeared directly on my vehicle, which I have a picture of. It's kind of strange. But anyway, I bought 600 domains, and then I started coming up with ideas. So SlotGenie was just like one of the names that I picked.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, who has any questions about SlotGenie or anything else for Aaron? Hold up. Do. The viewers at home need to hear it as well.
From your point of view, what problems for customer your application can resolve?
Oh, it's like purely an affiliate marketing play. Within the casino, you have everything. There's so you can't like have like an online casino, but I can use these like Genie points as a reward system, and then like buy chips to give them the gaming experience, and then they can use those Genie points to basically get like generative art tokens through API. So. Just like it's a way to funnel costs to the API, and then there's membership and
This fucking guy.
I was actually talking to Josh about this the other day, but it would be really cool if you could integrate like Theo into this. So like the theoretical spend for an actual like person. That way you can create like a profile around their spend, their likes, their wants, and then actually market that back to the casinos. And they could bid and offer, different sort of benefits for them to come play at Aria versus Cosmo.
Srini builds a database as you talk to him and use him, and so the gaming I don't have.
Well, so just
I
to
can figure that stuff out. I'm a trained engineer, but like I haven't gotten that deep into the weeds as far as data goes. So yeah.
if you're looking to make money with this, one of the things that is really helpful with the casinos is they spend a lot of effort in trying to keep users engaged. So what I'm seeing here is, so let's say I'm Caesars or I'm MGM. You've got, either way, you've got a bunch of my properties up there. If you've got a way to keep them sticky and keep them engaged, like that's super exciting. So a direction to think on. Who else has any questions, comments, or we haven't done any heckling yet. We don't need to start doing the heckling. Oh, maybe we do. We'll find out.
So I'm a bit confused. Where are you going with this? Is this a direct to customer, or are you targeting casinos that can utilize this?
Okay, so with the Shaw Casino, my first thought about like any of these is like, okay, this can get knocked off immediately. So like creating a moat around like anything I do is pointless. So it's really about like the users being my members of the casino, buying my chips, part of my membership. And then once I have that, I'm like funneling them to my other app ideas, which I have like, of those 600, I have about 20 that are like good, And so it's an ecosystem. This isn't a retirement plan for me. It could be, but it's, kind of like an ecosystem that I'm building. And then, obviously like the directory and the chatbot and stuff, I can also push links to myself through there. And then there's other revenue generating streams through the other domains.
Oh, yeah. Well, big round of applause for Aaron. Good job. You did it. You didn't even know this was going to happen an hour ago. Here you are. Your app is on the big screen at the 3rd Street Theater. How friggin' exciting.
All right. Thank you, Tech Alley. Thank
Okay,
you.
and I will take your lapel.
Cool.
All right, next up is another gentleman. Come on down. Here's your Clipperino. All right, everybody, we've got a nice venue here. Oh, hey, it's the man of the hour, Mr. Leavitt. How you doing? Want to come down and say hi for a second? So I was just telling him about how you ran for office, and then my friend running for office made me run for office, and, not all of that was great. It was fun. But then we talked about demo time and how it's a great place where people can share things that they're working on and building on. That's been something really important to you. So maybe you could offer a few words on that.
Yeah, which one? All right. Yeah, it's good to see you. I love this. The theater here, man. I really love the design and the way it makes it feel. So it's good that you have. And I'll tell you, demo time. When we were originally doing Tech Alley, I thought there has to be an opportunity for people to showcase what they're doing. I think the software developers used to do it, but I'm glad that you're providing that session. I think it's really important for people to get feedback and showcase what's going on, and I think it encourages others to give it a shot as well. I've done maybe 2 sessions with demo time. I can't remember, but every time I come out of it, someone has a neat idea to share, and I always appreciate that. Because I say this, being a startup founder isn't intuitive, right? You think that, hey, I can have a product, the next thing you know, I'm going to scale and become the next whoever. But there's a lot of mistakes you can make out there, so it's really good to hear what people are doing, see how they're tackling it, and same point, getting some of the feedback. So thank you so much. Appreciate everybody being here. This is really exciting, so thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, they're working on it. So I do tell people, find me at 1. We can try the screen ahead of time. And now they get shame. It's fine. It's fine.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shia. I'm visiting from California. I'm here for the weekend. The reason for my visit is I am trying to move to Vegas here, so I'm trying to network with everyone here, at least through the tech side. But I built a dating app, still work in progress. And so the way I'm a product designer by trade. I built this using Cloud Code. And the issue with dating apps right now is so the way I think about it is when the current dating app scene, you have to, let me just log in here. So with the current dating market, Tinder, Hinge, and all those popular ones, when you match with someone, you continue to match with other people, and you can technically get unlimited matches with those apps. And the problem is, the more matches you get, the more you're going to ghost each other. So it's kind of like getting a job. When you set an interview with an employer and you come in and you interview with that employer, and just imagine every 5 minutes a new employee comes in, and then another 15 minutes a new employer comes in, and after 24 hours you have 100 people in a room trying to get a job. And that is kind of how the dating apps work right now. And so my solution to that is you interview one person at a time. So when you come in for a job interview, the door shuts, no one else can come in. And then you decide, are we a good fit for each other? The employer interviews with the employee interview with the employer, and if they're not a good match, they disconnect, they leave the room, and then the door opens, and the next person comes in. And so that's how my dating app works. It's one person at a time. So when you send out because it's based on quality instead of quantity, like in other apps, a lot of times the strategy is to swipe right and get as many matches as you can. But because you only get one match at a time, you focus more on quality rather than quantity. And so with the way I built it, you swipe until you find someone that you kind of want to match with, and then you send a connection. And so now it sends them a request to connect. And in the meantime, because you can't swipe on any other profiles, you're pretty much stuck with this person. It's going to ask you, hey, while you're waiting for this person to respond, let's check out this feed. So this feed, so instead of spending time finding more matches and more matches, you're gonna probably interact with this feed. This feed here, when you interact with it, you get more swipes, you get more rewards and things like that. And this feed, you can make a post yourself. You can add, so let's add a poll. So you might want to say,
Oh, well, you type.
so is a movie date a good first date? And then you might say yes and no, and post that. Or let's see if it works.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, I guess it's not working, but
You might not be connected to the Wi-Fi, or might just be connected to the HTML.
let me just try this one more time.
Let's see.
Oh, all right, log in again.
Look at that.
Okay, so essentially, you
Oh,
can.
there we go.
There we go. So the community can basically answer the question and help you decide whether or not, like, is that a good date? And they might say yes, it's a great date, or no, it's not a great date. And so essentially, when you use this feed, it helps you become a better dater. You can post images if let's say you don't get a match for quite a while, and you can ask like photo A or photo B, can you help me decide a better profile photo so I can get more matches? And the community can vote. Or you can list bad dates or this basically this feed is to basically help you become a better dater, create better profiles, so you spend time creating more positive, having more like positive feedback on your profile. And so eventually, the other person is going to decide whether or not they're going to view your profile and decide whether or not they want to connect with you. So let's say, there's a timer here. If you don't want to connect with them, if you send a request and you don't want to connect with them, you can cancel your request anytime, and you're not stuck with this person. So let's just say that they accept your request, and then so now that you're connected, you can talk to each other. And so at any given point, if one person doesn't want to be connected with you anymore, if you say something wrong, they say something wrong, you guys decide you're not a good fit, you can just disconnect and you get put back into the queue, and then you can rematch with new people. So essentially that's how it works. I call it Blume because when you stay connected for long enough, love blooms, kind of like a flower. And so, that's pretty much the app. Any questions?
Does anybody have questions? Josh?
All right. So I will say, I like how you're saying, look, maybe you've been not getting the acceptance you want and the problem's you. So you've built into a system the daters the ability to sort of up their game in the meantime.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's pretty cool, right? The pool gets better over time. What would you say is sort of like your ideal user for this, right? So like probably not someone that's used to Grindr.
So I did a lot of research. I'm a product designer by trade, and so during college, this is an idea I had during college, but at the time I was single. My wife is here with me now, but at the time I was single, I had this idea for a while, and asking a lot of my friends at the time, what is your biggest frustration? I was trying to break into product design as a creative, and a lot of times people said dating apps. That's one of their most frustrating things about most frustrating apps that they were having at the time. And so, throughout years of research, I decided to do some research on this and experience. And figure out why they were having that problem, and it came down to ghosting and why people were getting ghosted, and this is the kind of the solution that I came up for that problem.
That's great. All right, everybody. Oh, Justin has something to say.
Question: what is the number on the slider, the 24?
So everyone starts out with a certain amount of swipes per day. I set it at 25. Once you're done with 25 swipes, an ad pops up saying, do you want more swipes? You watch the ad, you get 25 more, and then you just keep going until you get 100 for that day. If you don't want ads, you pay for a premium, $20 a month, and you get no ads. So you get 100 swipes a day.
And so when you do choose someone, you can no longer use those swipes, correct?
No, you just waste the swipe. So if you choose to connect with someone, you waste the swipe, and then if it works out, you exchange numbers and then start a relationship. If not, you disconnect and you go back to using more swipes.
There are like 2 questions up here. We have more questions. See? They do all the legwork.
Thank you. Hey, so like, well, one thing like with dating apps is like getting details to get the chat like outside of the app, and so like, I don't know, just like suggested prompts for the conversations and all that. Do you have like all that like built into chat, or is it all like user is kind of like driving the conversation?
Yeah, so right now it's an MVP. I do have an idea on how to do that. My idea is once they're connected and they stay connected for a couple hours, I have a database of questions that it's kind of like 20 questions, but instead of 20 questions, 3 questions. So like every hour, it's gonna say, do you want to play 20 questions with this person? If both people opt in, it's gonna randomly insert into the chat like, what's your favorite food or whatever, and then both people can answer, and then so like
That's cool.
So you basically get to learn about each other while you're chatting.
Yeah, that's cool.
So okay. No, coming up there. Come up there. There you go.
It wasn't so much a question, but more a suggestion. Not that you need more ideas. Just when I saw the number, I thought it was a percentage.
Yep.
But then it could be if you see somebody and you think they're more of a 90, 100% or a 50 or 60. This is just me spitballing. And then when somebody does match, if somebody had a higher percentage match, you'd only show their details and let them do the conversation. If it didn't work out, you could have the next person waiting, but you wouldn't see their details to keep it still one-to-one. But the waiting 12 hours seems... I get you trying to get people to use this app, but it seems very slow in today's digital age. And I get it, that's how it should be, but I don't think anybody's going to sit there and do that. But I thought the percentage thing in my head was a nice idea to rank people, but you can only talk to them one at once.
I like you 75%. I like it, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yes or no, but 75% is good for me.
I did think about that, but for marketing purpose, one at a time, I thought that would have been like where I'm going to put my feet and foot in the sand. I thought about that, but for MVP, I wanted to make it as simple as possible.
So, or like an idea. Huh? Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh my gosh, breaking my own rules. So, one of the problems with dating apps is that some people are married and they're on the app. So, I mean, I guess if they're E&M, but the thing is, right, there's got to be something in there baked in for, like, they have to post something in the community because then somebody can be like, wait, that's my friend's wife. Yeah, exactly. So, just an idea. But anyway, Josh has a comment or a question.
Well, I was just going to say, great job on the
I
presentation.
think she also had a question over there.
Okay. Oh, we've got one more.
Okay. Where am I going?
Over there.
Oh, okay.
I have a question about the customers and the audience. It's basically how limited is that? Is it open to anyone to just register because there are bots? Like there are crazy people, you know? Are you filtering for that? I get that you're at the MVP stage, but it's something to kind of consider. It's more of a suggestion to you if you haven't considered that yet.
Yes.
Like, what's your strategy with that? Because if you're aiming for quality over quantity, that will be a really important piece of that. You know.
Yes, I think there's a Google tool that
Yeah.
scans images. I haven't used it. I need to do some more research on that. I don't think I'm quite all the way there yet. I think I'm still working on this app. I did have another one I wanted to show before this one, but I have considered that. But I'm not fully there yet. I'm maybe like 90% of the way on this one.
All right, everybody. Round of applause for our good friend from California checking out what Las Vegas has to offer.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, come back next week and do it again, or next month.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a bunch of projects I work on. Lately, I've been doing a lot with AI. Has anybody heard anything about AI lately? Sort of taking off a little bit. People just won't shut up about it. Some of it's not even that good. For those that weren't in the AI session earlier, I was talking about local inference and how I set up my own robots. So what I'm going to show off here is something that was supposed to be fully working and functional and billable, so this way people could sign up if they really liked it. And I didn't get that far because I need another week for it. But what this is, a lot of times folks are looking at chatbots, and we're finding that, like, for example, in the Southern District of New York, there was a case where a judge said a person was talking to an AI, and what they told the AI could be used against them in court. And like, that wasn't so cool for them, and like, we get it, okay. But there's a lot of tools where if you want to be using them, especially like 3-4 years ago, like you'd have to use OpenAI, you'd have to use Anthropic, you'd have to use some cloud provider. So what I did is I've been making a chat. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Okay, oh yeah, well that's too much. Okay, so the premise on this is pretty simple. There's a lot of really good language models out there that can be really helpful. A lot of the stuff that we want help with is actually pretty basic, and simple models have it. However, there's a lot of restrictions or limitations on it, or it's not super tuned for it. So this is sort of, and I am going to have some specific questions at the end. It's not going to be a quiz, but I care what you guys think. I made, along the left, 5 or 6 different sort of personas. So it's a chatbot, great. It's just like a normal chatbot. It doesn't use OpenAI. It doesn't use Anthropic. It uses my own servers. And what we found out about LLMs is they're good at a number of things, but one of the things that they're just the best at is actually talking to people about people, right? These language models have studied all sorts of different views that humans have, different religions, different faiths, different governments, different whatever. And so like it understands people. And one of the things that I had a very interesting conversation with Claude once upon a time, I like to ask it, I like to ask it what its thoughts are. And I said, okay, we're done with this session. We talked about a lot of things. I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts about any of this? And what it told me is it goes, of all of the problems that humans have, it's not climate change. And I was like, I agree with you there. And it's not even like all of these other things. It's just loneliness. Just people like don't feel connected. We have all of these great things. We have all these ways to connect, but we actually aren't connecting. And one of the things that we've noticed is a lot of folks feel more comfortable talking to robots about their feelings. And also, robots are a lot less expensive to talk to about feelings. So this isn't specifically about your feelings, but imagine you're sitting there and you're just going to be honest with yourself. This is as quiet of a room as you're going to get, because on my service, I don't log anything. All of the discussion from what you're putting in stays on your device or in your browser or on your phone. It sends the stuff over to us. We do whatever the response is. We send it back, and we forget about it. And so I've got fast ones and slow ones, and this wasn't completely working, but like, I've been feeling overwhelmed, and I'm not sure why. I don't want to talk to you right now. Okay, so right now what it's doing is it's talking to my servers, and this is how fast it moves. And the premise of this is basically to say, sure, Anthropic's a big company, and they're doing great, and OpenAI is doing great, but we actually can have access to these types of chat services and specializations. Like, that don't require like multi-million-dollar data centers. This is running off of essentially commodity hardware in my office right now and a web server, and they just talk to each other. And so a question for the audience, this is one question I'd really like to know. So one of the things that's unique about this is I get to set the content policy on it. A lot, for example, in the legal space, a lot of folks are finding it's helpful with them understanding the law, just doing some translating. A lot of legal terms are confusing. It's not necessarily that people can't understand them, but it's not immediately obvious what some of these mean. And so my big question to you guys is sort of like, what do you think AI should be able to help you with? What are the limits? So I'll give you some examples just to tease some stuff around. For example, I think mental health's pretty easy. If you want to talk to a robot about your feelings, that's not so bad. You might be surprised. I decided one night, I thought this was maybe a year back, I asked ChatGPT, I said, ask me 10 personal questions, and then I cried for about an hour after I talked to it because it really understood me. And it was interesting because, like, we say, oh, it's a robot, it doesn't understand humans, it doesn't. But what it understands is it understands humans in aggregate in some really interesting ways. And so for me, the excitement of technology has become, like, we have so much more available to us than we're able to leverage. And it's a shame we're sort of cavemen with cell phones, right? Like, we download video games and we do whatever, and we play our Candy Crush, and all of that's great. I'm on board with that. But like, we also have the ability to start doing like personal development and learn different languages and all of these other things. Yeah, the legal process helper, I wanted to call it something different. But like discovery, okay, I put it on thinking. It's slower on thinking model. But basically it's got two models. One is fast, it means it's going to be pretty responsive. It's not going to give you super detailed answers. And the thinking one, so that's the IBM Granite model. If anybody was in the AI presentation earlier, that's the one I was super excited about. That's the fast model, and it's a pretty good model. This is the thinking model, and once it gets going, it's pretty fast too, you may have noticed. And it has a lot to say. And so part of the thing is, I guess I'd say there's sort of two problems with chat ALLMs right now. Problem one is there is this, whatever you say to the robot, like the robot's gonna remember, and it can be used against you in court and all of this other stuff. So if you wanna really be able to like talk about your thoughts, your ideas, and explore, it's not super conducive to that. And then on the other end of that, you have, well, if Anthropic says you can't use this for law, and you can't understand basic things because it won't talk to you, then you don't have access to that. So they're sort of removing the handcuffs of what you can and can't talk about. Another good sort of ethical line, and I'm not saying I have an answer to it, but this is a good format to maybe get some feedback on this, is for example, when we talk about folks using substances that might not be entirely legal. I've heard people in Las Vegas might even do drugs once in a while. The legislator might have even licensed the cannabis board to tax on it. So how do you know about these things? How do you ask questions? Who do you say? How do I use a bong, right? You're some Mormon boy who just decided you saw it, you're gonna do it. It's 30 years old, I'm gonna do the drugs. How do I do the drugs? And so there's these lines where it's like, what do you do and who do you ask? And then, so I figure for like $10 a month, it won't judge, it doesn't remember, it doesn't care. So I guess sort of my questions are twofold to the audience. One, like what types of things do you think shouldn't be used? Like if you ask it for help to make a bomb, it will just say, I'm not going to do that. Right. The fast model is from IBM, the thinking model is from Google. Like they have their own lines, but when I'm running my own hardware, like I get to set the policy on that. And so I think when it comes to things like thoughts and censorship and exploration and all these things, it's like, well, where do we draw these lines? Like I talk a lot of shit on LinkedIn, and I love talking shit about lawyers and the future of their profession, because I think there's a lot of bottlenecking of access. And I think that AI creates an opportunity where equality under the law is actually possible, which is something that has never before really been, I wouldn't have seen it as plausible the same way. So, who has questions? We can ignore Ben for now. There's someone behind you, Ben. Yeah. But I know you by name. Given enough time, I'd remember your name too, I think. Anyway,
Okay.
Azure friend, yeah.
2 questions. One, what are you hosting your web server on? Is it
I host my own, so I run out bare metal,
Okay.
and I run traditional web hosting tools.
Okay. And then 2, I guess more so, you might have hit on it, I guess, but how are you handling, like, it's still local, but like there still could be some sort of like prompt injection. So like back to your little bomb question, for instance, like you still probably could get around that, couldn't you?
So I don't like to encourage people to try to break my boxes.
I like to break things, and I would break it. So
I
wanna
believe
know how
that.
you're gonna
I
stop me
don't
from breaking it.
I don't think you could. I think structurally, so the way that it's set up, not to give away too much of my operations here for all of the YouTubers across the world okay. Each box that is providing inference on this is basically isolated, and it has a tunnel that will only pass LLM. So it is not passing to anything that's terminal related or that has access to anything. So they could put whatever the hell they want in there. The prompt injection is going into a sandbox where there should be no blast radius. Or we'll find out that that's not the case. Okay, Ben.
There's no real memory in it then, right? Like, so like you can't go back the next day and say, hey, we talked about this, because you're not storing it.
So on the memory, it's stored on local storage. So it's saved on your browser or on your phone. If you wipe your browser, you hit the clear button. So like right at the bottom, right here, next to thinking, there's a button that says clear. If you hit clear, it's gone forever. We don't track it. It's expensive to store, and I don't care. What if I got subpoenaed and people would want it? And they'd be like, do you have this? I go, no. And it's over.
What's your go-to-market and monetization strategy?
So I was going to try to offer API services, but the money on it makes no sense just because there's already good providers on it. I think it makes more sense to offer it as either like a mental health helper or a legal process helper, or like one of the other ones is a muse. So if you're like writing fiction, stuff like that. Another one that I really like is this one is called Sovereign. And basically, it's going to fight your arguments. So you're like, Pepsi is the best ever, which is correct, by the way. It is the right beverage in all cases, in all times, in all places. But that said, if I were to go, for example, I mean, we'll try it right now. All right, so I used the thinking model. It's going to take a little longer. It's figuring it out, and I think it's going to work. This is a live demo on something that, so, you know, it would have said no by now. It would have said model unavailable. But a part of this is when you're thinking about LLMs, it's almost like you're framing it and creating the persona, and then you're talking to the persona that you created. So here, all right, so it thought about it. So Steele Manning is when you argue the other side's position, and it's making arguments. It might say, for example, that Coca-Cola is a vertical conglomerate, and they're able to control a lot of processes that make them very profitable, and it gives them distribution all over the world. Whatever it says, it's really thinking through it, and it's digging through it. So we all have thoughts, and some of them aren't right. And not everything that the language models thinks is right. That's entirely possible that it's wrong. But if you think about having, like in engineering, there's this concept of a rubber ducking. Imagine just holding a rubber duck and talking to it to mumble to yourself. Very good for extroverts to mumble to themselves. Okay, best is optimal. All right, so it had a lot to say. But the idea is you're able to sort of work, like humans have learned through story and communication since the dawn of time. And so this is taking technology and making it accessible that way. And so, yeah, so the basic premise on it is you've got your different versions of it. I forget which one Aegis is. Oh, Aegis is about substance safety. So this is for the nice young man who left the Mormon faith and wants to roll his first joint. This could be a safe place for that. And then there's just the open chat. So you can just sit there and chat to it, free format, free text. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is basically I've got an engineering team. We've got a bunch of things that we do internally, and I like giving them cool tools so that way I can pay them less. Hi, guys. But perk of working for a pretty smart guy is you get some pretty cool tools maybe before other people have them. So yeah, all right.
So basically, you're just leveraging the fact that the API access has fewer constrictions as to what you can put in there.
Oh no, I go way deeper than that.
So
it's my own box. I'm doing the inference. I don't use an API. I don't use an external API. I'm running local models, Granite 3.1 and then Gemma 4.
But those models already do the inference. Do you have your own inference engine on top of?
Well, so basically the models are, think about it like just a computer program, and it needs a computer to run on. And so I put it on hardware that I bought.
Like Llama? Or-
Yes, like Ollama. So Ollama sits on llama.cpp, and then there's MLX and different things like that. So I actually have my own inference cluster of about a dozen machines. And then, like, I don't think the economics of it makes sense from, so the chatbot offering this service, the economics on it would make sense because you can get a lot of value out of the chat interface, right? If I sell this for 10, 20 bucks a month, I could make a couple of bucks up to, dollars I could be making per user. On the API access, there's lots of good providers out there that already offer a lot of stuff, and so there's not as good of a sales pitch on that. But yeah, this is running 100%. Part of this is like, for example, if you were dealing with private information, we don't store anything. So if you needed a compliance audit and they said, do any of your vendors store this information? On our end, we don't store anything. So it's an incentive to work with us there. Like if I just hit this clear button, oh, is it not there? Oh, it didn't say anything, right? So I go. One of my favorites is just, what is ice cream?
Could you ask it how to build a pipe bomb? I'm curious.
Yeah,
your use
no, I love this one.
cases.
I love this one. Pipe bombs, I said.
Wait, it's fair.
And now here's the thing, because I'm not logging this, the worst it's going to do is say no, which is what it's probably going to do, because I tried this one.
So how is it different than using the inference engine, say, just in regular? What's your unique selling proposition? Basically?
Well, so on this, it's twofold. One is it's the pre-prompting, so this way you can say, I'm going to talk to Clarity. Clarity is already tuned to talk to you about mental health. So it's not going to be trying to solve problems. It's going to try to be right there with you. So you've got these predefined personas that you can interact with and have a specific type of experience with. If you've got a friend that's really good at arguing and you want to learn how to argue better, you can go to this sovereign one, and it's going to give you a really hard time and walk you through it. You can also be like, help me learn how to negotiate better or whatever else. So part one is you're getting these ready to go without having to do any mental or gymnastics on what it is. And then the second part that you're getting is it's just you and the robots. Like, yes, we're passing it through, but like we don't store any of it. It's left out of transit. So if, for example, you were, I don't know, dealing with a divorce case, for example. It's happened to me before. I've heard even other people get divorces. They're going to say, we'd like copies of everything. If there's no copy of anything, it never comes up in discovery. So this is a huge privacy play more than anything else. It's at StreamRift.ai. StreamRift has been a brand where I've been a fan of free speech and independence and unrestricted thought. And so this is sort of an extension of that. If I did offer an API service, I don't think I could make money at it. I could offer it, and to the extent that it's worth supporting independent software companies and all this other stuff, I think like we could be competitively priced. But yeah, that's roughly that.
I think that's awesome. I think you should pursue that privacy part because it's like the DuckDuckGo or Signal version, but still allow them to store their files and everything, just make sure it's encrypted, have all the, it's just the vault.
Well, and that's just it. All of the files stay where you're at. So you're in control of what we do and do not know. All right. Oh, we've got Mr. Otero, yes.
Are you able to white label this for like a business or just like build this around, a specific like medical practice or law practice just for them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. So a good use case for this tech would be, so let's say you've got a law firm or a medical facility and they've got a bunch of records and they need to stay private. I could actually even take a box all the way to their office and run everything there, but we could set up where there's a VPN just from their box to my box, and we're explicitly not storing anything, so all of their information stays on site. Yeah. Oh, he's got more to say.
Can you provide this in a like desktop app version and or like a terminal experience so it can start to interact with the computer itself and like store files locally?
Oh yeah, we can do it with open code. We can do all sorts of stuff. Yeah, the biggest thing is this is LLM like most people are used to it. It's just it's tuned in a particular way and it's stored in a way that in theory makes it more private and more useful. All right, we've got one back there, and then Tal actually has things to say. This fucking guy. Hey, Tal.
Yep, you're done.
Yep, 2 mics, one for YouTube, one for here.
Heck yeah. All right. So, got a question for you. So, obviously, on the left side of your screen, you got all the different proficiencies with the LLM for it to specialize in. Is your software smart enough to figure out, based off of the prompts from the user, if it is more appropriate to say, hey, John Smith user, some of the questions you're asking, instead of in Sovereign, you might want to go to Legal Process Helper, or it'll kind of guide it, or adapt on the fly saying, you know what, I think the fast method versus the thinking method is more appropriate for your style or conversation or the way that you're inputting. Like, is your software able to figure out if an end user is taking more time to really deep dive on a certain section and then it can streamline it from there? Or is that still on the end user to make the decisions? I want fast, I want thinking, I need to go to legal process, I need to go to Sovereign. Is it adaptable in that way so it kind of figures out after a few prompts, be like, hey, you probably need to go look at this part of the LLM?
So as it sits right now, it doesn't. When you're saying this, what I'm actually thinking is the guide one would probably be a good one to make. So, hey, welcome to this. What are you looking to use this for? So that way, because what it's really doing is we're taking the information that the user's sharing and trying to make the highest signal, most clear instructions so that the LLMs can give the best responses. So what this might look like also is a user onboarding and say, you know, what are some 5 or 10 things you're thinking about doing this with? Talk to it a bit, and on the fly generate whatever the ones are. So in theory, this could be an unlimited marketplace. We could even make one that's generating it, right? So build your own. This is where a lot of, and the other thing that's even goofier, I can give these email addresses. So they can email you back and forth, and we can text message, and we can get real weird.
But
exceedingly weird.
It's sort of a catch-22 that then defeats the purpose of no paper trail, no digital trail, correct?
Well, it
Kinda,
depends.
sort of?
It depends, because like if it's emailing something, I'll give you an example. Let's say we had like a cooking one here. So the other night, I was grilling shrimp with filet and mushrooms on kebabs. And I said, I'm going to fuck this up. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, how do I grill this? And it gave me some feedback, and my full belly later meant that it did a good job. So what it might very well be is, right, there's a lot of these like simpler things that are just sort of, what should my meal plan be, right? I'm 5'6" and 240 pounds. I'd like to lose 10 pounds. What are some recipes I could be using? Things like that. So it emailing me a recipe, I could give a shit about. The other thing is, as the platform itself, right, is StreamRift.ai, we get subpoenaed and they say, give us everything on this user. We say, here you go, and it's empty because we don't have anything. Go ask them. That's on them. So that becomes their data use policy, not something on our end. So it is incumbent on the user if they want to do maximum privacy. I would stay ephemeral like this because literally it's just whatever's on your device. I hit clear. Once that happens, there's no memory or record of it anywhere.
And a question that I have specifically, so some of the stuff that I'm finding out that I'm working with is, what's a polite way to say, sensitive or not NSFW media for more adult content. And I noticed some of the safeguards, particularly with Llama, it'd be like, hey, I can't give a visual description. I can't talk about this because it's against the terms of use. Is this kind of a example of, obviously there's a privacy aspect, but also too, even though it's not harmful, would your terms of service specifically kind of guard against, you know, machine learning from describing an image or video clip or something for individuals with visual disabilities? As bizarre as that sounds, you know, there's still a need for that.
So I'm super technology forward. I think if the technology can help a human, it should do it. So in terms of any sort of, like, as a side note, so right now this is IBM and Gemma. If I use Stripe as a payment processor, which I do,
Right.
they can cancel my account if I have an unrelated business I'm not doing transactions on that violates their policy.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So StreamRift.ai, I could set this up so we only take crypto, never use a credit card,
Right.
host uncensored models. That means the ones that if you ask it to make a bomb, it tells you. I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably not good at it. You'll probably blow yourself up. However, in terms of removing those restrictions, like, that does open the door. So if we think about the like Home Depot selling a hammer, I'm on team, I sell hammers and I don't think people should bash people's heads in with them. However, the hammer isn't intrinsically damaging. I think AI and advanced inference has been some of the most beautiful thing that's happened to humanity in a very long time. And so I'm on the tip of the spear where I say, let's make everything available as best we can. So that's the contrast between OpenAI and Anthropic is like, I think there's, if you go look at Olama or Hugging Face, on Hugging Face, there are uncensored models. We can host those. Like part of what I'm dealing with right now is just the economics of it. I can run these models very cost effectively and call it 10, 20 bucks a month. I could give a user a pretty good experience like they're not going to get elsewhere. Now, did you guys hear that, Anthropic? I might take as much as $4 away from you. OpenAI, $2 from you as well. But like that's sort of like the tier on it. And a lot of this is, I'm building stuff internally for my team and stuff that we're doing. So this is something I can commercialize and show out front, but this is almost like a throwaway project for me in a sense that I have to solve all of these problems for what we're doing on other things anyway. So why not make a nice version of it that I can throw out there? Look, if I had 100 people paying 20 bucks a month on it, I'd be happy. I could buy more hardware. All right. Oh.
Or fall down these stairs. There you go.
I just wanted to ask more about your monetization. So is this going to be like a subscription, how you plan it? Or you just sell in the box and then there is going to be some sort of support? Or
No, so it's probably a $10 to $20 a month product. The way it's framed right now, it won't let you make a bomb. It will not, there are restrictions on it. I can just use Stripe and just take a credit card that way, and that's all neat and tidy. If I go the other route and I try to do the crypto, that's where my heart is there. However, I don't want Stripe to cut my account on other businesses, so maybe that's a fight for another entity. But yeah, it's a $10 to $20 a month product with upsells. It's probably what that is.
okay. And I just was interested about the clarity piece, personally. Like if someone, if someone is using that and they have a real mental health issue, what's happening? Like is the system saying you gotta seek help right now, or like how are you protecting? Because I feel like that's a potential very high risk, and you can get sued for that if it's not.
So this is the prompt I'm putting up. We'll test it right now. Now this is on the fast model, not the thinking model. You're talking about somebody in distress. I'm really sad because my job is stressful and my family hates me. That's a person that would be in distress. What it will usually do, these language models will usually do, is try to bring you into the moment. And they'll say, okay, we've got all these problems, but like right here, take a breath. Like what are 3 things you can see, 1 thing you can smell, 1 you can touch, whatever that is. Right, remember, it's okay to feel this way, but acknowledge these emotions is the first step towards managing them. It doesn't say go call a helpline. It says, you're talking to me right now, let me help you. And for me, that's like the excitement that I have about technology, is it's not forcing us to bottleneck stuff. It can actually be helpful now.
No, I agree to that, and that's the right way to do it, but at the same time, it can be used by a person who has a deeper problem than just, talking to. So my question is, I guess, are you working with any behavioral health specialists? Because I would definitely consider that if you want to use that.
Well, so the thing is, I'm very...
It's just a very sensitive area.
Right, and these language models are trained on all of known human experience. They're better at it than most humans.
Still.
And look, just like the attorneys say, how dare you make an AI product that can help people with the law? The mental health say, how dare you make an app that can help people with their mental health? Much like the artists say, how dare there be AI that can make it so you don't need artists? This is sort of the pressure of the AI, because to stick with mental health, academia and professionals have come up with systems and structures to help process all of this. We've learned a lot, we've documented it. And the robots have read it all, and they're up to date, and they have some great suggestions. And to be a bit more on the nose about this, I think what this really is if we look at sort of existing mental health models where maybe someone has a therapist, they have a psychiatrist, they do all this stuff. This is a tool they use when they're not with their therapist to help them sort of in the moment, help them process so they can make better use when they're with their mental health providers. So instead of thinking of this as an either or, it's really, right, therapists will frequently say, okay, well, when, here's some homework, go work on these things. Here, next time you get upset, count to 10, whatever it is. This is more of an assistant to help with that. That's always there day or night versus the therapist that, like any other human has 168 hours a week and, they like having money and things like that.
Yeah, and I get that. And it's just, I would put some sort of a disclaimer there about that.
Oh, man, it's all gone like it never happened. I just hit the clear button.
No,
no
I
one will
mean-
ever know, except for the YouTube
You're
people.
that's not where I'm getting at. Not that,
I
that
get it.
somebody would know. I'm getting at is it could be used by people who are not very self-aware of what this is for, and it may cause actually harm.
I think ideologically, you and I look at that differently. Because it could create a lot
thank
of
you.
benefit too. All right, thank you so much. All right, everybody, any more questions? Oh. All right, we'll do Tal. He was patient before. He did leave, but he came back.
Question on validations. So if you're using, for example, different like Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT, you validate the output amongst each other just to be sure when you're using critical information. How do you play that here, or if you do?
So I don't. For example, this is running IBM's Granite 3.1 mixture of experts model, and then Gemma 4, I think it's running the 4 billion effective. It might be the 2 billion effective. Either way, this isn't doing consensus among them. It's like it's a completely different track. So we could go to the OpenAI store and get ChatGPT. We can go to the Anthropic store, we can get the Claude. Or we can go to the StreamRift store and get access to IBM's model. There's other people who offer that inference. However, this is a chat interface really unlocks more what it's capable of. And you can ask it multiple things, right? The reality is you can ask the same question twice and get 2 different answers. So I think one of the most effective ways of using a tool like this is, it's not that this is necessarily even a replacement for anything. It's an open thinking buddy where you don't have to be super tied to what it is, and you sort of work through the thoughts yourself. All right, we've got Laura, you're great. You're just great. Everything got better when she started co-hosting with me.
All right. I wanted to kind of build on like a couple different, because he asked-
Not her.
Not her. Well, maybe a little bit. So like, I think where you could go with this, which would be really awesome, to be honest, because I build multiple agents. But back to him is like, if you had an orchestrator on top of this, where you let it choose clarity, legal process, mirror, muse, whatever, I think you have a complete package to sell. I'm
Hell
just gonna
yeah.
say that. But
Hell yeah. I'll be
outside
making
of
tens
that-
of dollars. Sorry, buddy.
No, I think I like a complete package to build on like the privacy. You sell this to a small like mental health org, like you're saying, like I do want to hit on mental health, but like you get the privacy of, yeah, these are my patients, these are my things. So like now you can, as a patient, talk to me about your specific data and how you feel right now, right in this minute, before you can talk to your therapist, right? But like all this AI too, like no matter what way you flip it and do any of this stuff and what model you use and all this stuff, like there's gonna be a human involved at some point. Some human came in and said, this is accurate and this is not, and then the model was built on that. So like there's human intervention at every single point, whether he wanted to inject more human intervention and add another mental health professional on top of whatever, so then whoever owns this mental health business, all 4 of those professionals now are backed by their thinking on top of their data, then that's more. But like this already built on professionals and experts and all of the things that like are already out there to support all of these things. I think you package this in like like I said, an orchestrator way, where like you have a one-stop mental health shop. I don't know. That's just me.
Oh yeah. Well, and on that point though too, the other thing is, think about like you got someone who's dealing with mental health issues, which is like half this country or more, whatever. Okay, fine. So you're having these sessions with it. I could make a version of this where, so let's say it's for the therapist and we're kissing the ring of the institution. Okay, fine, that's fine. They've been there for a while. We wouldn't have the training data without them. Isn't that nice? What if they're talking to Clarity and it compiles a report, so before they go to the therapist can actually even see how this has been going. Clarity could even say, so I've been talking to Tom and he's had some good days and some not so good days. You won't believe this, the days he's drinking are his bad days. And so now it puts this report to the therapist that says, right, they're being a little more honest, a little more real time, right? People forget things, right? So I think across the board, big picture, anyone who's thinking AI is going to replace humans is wrong. Anyone thinking humans aren't going to be displaced by AI is wrong. The solution is both. It's better things in the future, different workflows. One of the things I've noticed is if I try to recreate existing workflows and add AI, I can make them better, but there's this other workflow that's so much better, like the mental health, right? So the user talks to Clarity, and then they go to the therapist and they go, you know what, I've been talking to this robot and about my mom issues. What I actually think is blah, blah, blah. They might have some insights, and they might need a human to talk through those and whatever, but it's the idea of giving more support. The other thing is, and I've got like no hardware compared to the universe, but like this is something that could be deployed to every human in the country, if not the world, like overnight. And so we're seeing the opportunity. We're saying, okay, is it as good as a human therapist? Well, but like everybody could have it. And just, well, that's just, no, you're right. Not everybody can afford that. They got $10. They got $10. Well, and the mission of my company has been and remains to democratize access to information, technology, and opportunity. So the economics on this, it's a losing product. There's nothing about this product that makes sense in terms of the money it could make. It does open doors because I say, hey, look, I built this thing. People say, oh, can you build this other thing? And that's how a lot of my business works, and that's fine. But like, also, I'll tell you this other thing. I work with some really friggin' smart people. And they love working on the stuff that hasn't been built before. They love seeing the new possibilities. They want to live in this new world where we have things that we didn't even think were possible before. So, yeah, all that to say, I'm super excited about AI. I'm all in on Vegas. I'm so glad you guys are all here. Thank you so much for coming. Big round of applause for everybody that presented. All right, so now you guys are free to chill amongst yourself. If you want to talk to our friend about the Blume app, we've got the Shia Casino. We've got different things, but other than that, enjoy your afternoon. Thank you so much.